What's the deal with passwords? They're like regular words with the ground. What I'm talking about is like, the video game passwords. I really want to talk about, like passwords versus like the save files. Passwords aren't a big thing anymore. Most of the stuff nowadays is all on the save file system, and like there's a lot of saving, auto-saving, checkpoints. So there's a lot of, saving and making sure you don't lose everything you just did. But a lot of more like older games really do the thing where like they have passwords, and so you could play them, and you couldn't save them. But the way that you saved your game is by getting this password, and typing in your password, and then you continue where you left off with all the stuff you had and everything. Like they had passwords like that, and I don't know, you gotta think of like the pros and cons for each of those. I thought about this before, because I'm a nerd. You think like, you think that a save file would, wow, that's loud out there, my window's open. But, it's like passwords. Well, see, the save files is nice. They're nice because it's kind of like, you saved it, it's right there on your game, you don't have to worry about anything. It's all right in front of you, and you can be like, oh, I want to start my file up again, and you go from where you left off. And of course, there's little things like checkpoints. In the game, if you die, you go back to certain points in there, and big saves where you actually save it, and all kinds of stuff like that. But then, it's really nice and convenient, as opposed to a password, where you have to put in a lot of characters. Usually they'll contain, rows of characters to put in, and you have to insert all those to get exact stuff that you had on you, especially if the game is more complex. And then you have to write it down when the game gives you the password, so you have the password with you, and you better write it down clearly, because the game isn't going to give you that same password again unless you end up with the exact same stuff again at the end of another screen or something. So it's a little rough, just to write on all those passwords and then go back and put them back in after you're done playing. And you have to continually do it because you don't know when you're going to stop necessarily, or like when the game is going to give out on you. So it's nice to have those. So that's where like the save file's better. But the thing that's worse about the save file is that if someone else gets on there, they can easily erase your save file. They can go on your file and play as you and do save, mess up all your stuff and then save it as making you a turd and something like that. It's easier to manipulate, which shouldn't really happen, I guess, but it does with some people. And like passwords, as long as you're the only one that knows that password and has it, then no one else is gonna go in there and like mess up your stuff unless they can get a hold of your password and do that. And it's better because even if they do that, you just put in that password again and you're at the same spot you were at. It doesn't really affect you at all. So like I can understand like the password is still pretty genius, and it takes up less memory to have a password, and the password's all encrypted into there instead of having save files. But then again, like newer games have a lot of different stuff in them, and it'd be hard to put it into password, some of those. So I mean, it depends. But that's why it was so cool. Like Legend of Zelda was like one of those like, oh, you could actually save it. It wasn't just passwords. That was pretty awesome that you could actually do that and not worry about writing down a password. I thought that was pretty cool. That's that's what my thing was. It wasn't really about passwords per se, but what it kind of was. And I don't know, I just think like it's a little underappreciated, I guess. I think it's like it's hard to do it anymore, but it did have a pretty cool purpose. I don't know. Also, that's essentially like a cheat code, I guess, which can be seen as a pro or a con depending on where you fall on the whole using cheats and stuff. I mean, I don't mind it sometimes. Like if I want to play the game and get through it, I probably don't want to do that unless I absolutely have to. Like I really can't beat a part. Well, then it sucks that it's there, because it's like, well, I feel a little tempted to use it probably sooner than I would be if I was desperate. I mean, you can like skip ahead to parts or get stuff that you missed. using those passwords, and you can do that and progress through the game, at least access more of it. I guess that's kind of a good thing for me, but I don't know. So, what's the deal with passwords, you know? Where did they go?
Don't you like it? Don't you love it? Nation, combination in this city, take it from